Hey, good morning, people. Welcome to Devotionals today. We're continuing with that saga and the story of David's life. Who would have thought that this man, we just thought he killed Goliath, but he had so many unbelievably interesting incidents in his life. His life is turning out to be a kaleidoscope of great, great stories and great, great principle lessons that we can learn. And that's what we're looking for right now. We're just looking for principles that we can apply into our own lives. Well, in chapter 27, we got a really interesting thing here. We've been through the routine of David being sought after by Saul and Saul repenting whenever David exposes himself to being who he is, and Saul trying to make up with David. But, Saul's not going to change. The same old thing continues to happen. Well, on one particular time, David got fed up with being chased by Saul. So he did something that was a rather strange thing to do. He found comfort in the enemy camp. He decided him and his 600 men would go and live with King Achish, who was the king of the Philistines. Now, those are the enemies. Goliath was a Philistine. David has killed his thousands, Saul his thousands, and David his 10,000s. And we see this incredible thing that David goes and hides in plain sight, as it were, amongst the Philistines. Saul doesn't want to go there, that's for sure. He's not going anywhere near this place. And he allows David, and David goes in and lives with the Philistines, which gives David peace from King Saul, because he's not coming anywhere near. Anyway, while David was there, David was still doing his stuff. He lied to King Achish, one of those justified lies that we find in the Bible. King Achish says, David, what have you been doing today? On one occasion, he says, oh, I've just been doing this and fighting that. And King Achish totally trusted the information that David had given him. He totally trusted David. And David manipulated and used this trust for his own good. Now, we would say any form of manipulation is not a great thing. But hey, David did exactly that for all the right reasons. He was biding time until he was about to become the king. He was waiting patiently for God to see Saul out of the scene so that he could come back into the scene and be the rightful king. But whatever the reason, David thought very strategically about what to do. He took on this position with King Achish. He actually later on, in 2 chapters down the road, we'll do that in a couple of days, he went to war on King Achish and got rejected. The Philistines didn't want him in their army. That's how far David went in looking after King Achish. Whether his intentions were totally good, yeah, people will debate that. But it's a great story with a great lesson for us today. Sometimes we have to make friends with the enemy. Sometimes we have to just toe the line along there. Now, there's some enemies we never befriend. In the spiritual life, we'll never, ever make friends with Satan and his cronies. That's a war that will never, ever be not fought. It will be fought right into heaven itself. And we never make friends with that enemy. But maybe you need to look around you and just say, you know what, for the sake of peace, for the sake of convenience, for the sake of a good cause, might be a better way to put it. For the sake of a good cause, find a friend amongst the enemy. And you might just find that that is a strategically very clever thing to do. Now again, this is almost like a life skill lesson. Where do we find something spiritual in all of this? But the root of all of this is still, he's trusting God. The root of all of this life, he's still waiting patiently for God to let him be the king when God wants him to be the king. But in the meanwhile, he spends his life doing strategic things, still defending the people who could not be defended with the 600 men, fighting wars that he actually lied to the king about what he was fighting. The king bought it. But David's life was a duck and dive situation. It was a picture of survival against all odds. Maybe we need to be more strategically thinking in some of our decisions that we make. Maybe there are things that we need to look at and say, well, hey, maybe I need to befriend the enemy. I don't know. Whatever that may mean to you, you sit, you think about it, and you work it out. Because just for the cause of the kingdom, for the cause of wanting to fulfill your mission in life, be trusting God, be patient, and be very strategic. Now that'll mean different things to different people. What it means to me will be different to what it probably means to you. But let's do it anyway. Let's give it a thought. Have a great day, you guys. Bye.